is VP. Of course, it's a big weekend for the UFC card. UFC Paris is happening this weekend, and I have some fights and some prediction for you guys. You can check it out. So first fight on the card will be Shauna Bannon versus Sam Hughes. Shauna Bannon, the last fight she fought was so good. Alikuwa anaweza kufight tu poa, lakini alikuwa kidogo kuwe checked. As you know, Shauna Bannon is like the UFC baby. UFC favors her with some matchups, but Sam Hughes is a fraud checker. She's so tough, she's durable, she got a good cardio, and they are going for 3 rounds. I think Sam Hughes is going to win, and she's going to destroy Shannon Bannon. Shannon Bannon is good. She got a fluke submission last time out, which she got a bonus out of it. But I really think if you are a UFC caliber fighter, and for that weight class, if you want to get and people want to know if you're really good, they're gonna match you up with Sam Hughes, and I think she's going to win that fight without any question, maybe by decision or maybe a submission. The second fight itakuwa Gustafsson versus Fakemedinov. Gustafsson beat Williams the last time out. He just made his UFC debut. Big fighter. He was acting up so good. He was doing really good on his feet, and he really finished Williams. Chaos Williams, which is a good fighter. As for the other guy, Fanidenikov has been in the UFC, but kuna vile hajafikisha potential yake sana. He's been like a prospect for the last 2 years because I've known him for a while, but doesn't really go on and doesn't really do his thing. He got a couple good wins in the UFC, which getting a win in the UFC means you're doing really okay. So he got a couple of wins, but Gustafsson coming from a big win from KO Williams, I think he could get it done either the second round or the third round with a finish. The next fight itakuwa Brad Tavares versus Barichek. Brad Tavares coming to make UFC most wins in the middleweight division. Of course, he's durable. He has fought against the best of the best in the division. Akina Adesanya, Akina Derek Brunson, big names. The last fight came up against Basharat, which he won, and he knows how to win fights. Barichek on the other end was not good in his UFC debut. This is the second fight in the UFC, and he's been going on and on. I didn't like his first fight, how he fought. Alikuwa ako mbele, ako nyuma saa yote. He didn't really know, getting pushed to the cage. But I think he's going to come huge this time round. But Brad Tavares really knows how to win fights. And enough being said, I think Brad Tavares is going to win this by decision because he's really good at wrestling. His striking is really good. He's an impressive fighter, and he's been in this long game for a long time. And this guy is coming in to be checked. Of course, lost his UFC debut, but I hope it's going to be a good fight. The next fight is Patterson versus Water. Patterson is on a winning streak right now. Good power punch. He's a black jiu-jitsu, so he's good in submission. Waters, on the other hand, he throws straight right hands. He's really overhand right hand yake. He got power, and he can knock guys out. His hands, he's tall, so he got a big reach. I think if he doesn't trade a lot with Patterson has a good chance of winning because he's all-rounded. And Patterson still is a good striker and has a good KO power. But with the jiu-jitsu in black belt and with some good wrestling, and he can strike too, and he can knock you out too, I think that's a good pick. And it's going to be a very interesting fight. So Sam Patterson can win that fight. The next fight, it's Maki versus Sola. Sola coming in from Aries as a world champ. He's a good southpaw, like boxing, but not good at wrestling. Ground game yake as a Villain Mechek, not really okay. But he's coming to fight Maki. Maki is so tough. He's been in there with some of the best. Even Hamza Chimaev walked through him. But Hamzat, of course, he's a beast, so big win. But see, he's been in there with some big dogs in the UFC. He went, came back, got a win the last time he fought, and he's so tough. His ground game is good, but he can handle himself okay. And I think his wrestling is going to make a really big difference over here. Because since he came back, he's been on a tear, won the last fight, and I hope he can win this again. But Sola making his UFC debut with some good boxing, I think maybe he can put a fight of the night kind of fight. But I think Maki, with how tough he is going to win this fight. The next fight will be Gomez versus William Gomez versus Ruchala Robert. William Gomez, good striker, well-rounded. He likes getting there, fighting backwards a lot, chopping up. You can think he's losing grounds a lot of time. But coming to see Ruchala, he's a former KSW champion, coming in to make his UFC debut. Good fighter, but not good for for the UFC caliber. Because as a champion there, he's not good at so takedown. His striking not good. Gomez knows how to win fights, because many of his fights he has won by decision, and winning by decision, I think if it goes to the full 3 rounds, William might actually win this because his striking is okay, so he's going to keep his range well. Sometimes he like fighting when going backwards, so he can make a good fight and an enjoyable one to watch. When it goes to the ground, I don't really think they'll stay in the ground along, because he got good takedown defense. He knows how to win fights, so I'll go with the UFC instead of the guy making the debut. So William Gomez for the win. The next fight will be Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija. It will be in the UFC Paris, of course. Marcin Tybura is a black belt jiu-jitsu, but his boxing is very weak. But he's an experienced fighter. He knows how to win fights. The last fight he was in, he won. So he's won a couple of fights. But putting in there with the top 10, he's not been doing so good. So he's more like a guy who is a gatekeeper now at heavyweight, because he's getting to fight Ante Delija, who is coming in from the PFL, making his debut, who is a hard puncher, good ground and pound, good takedown defense. So good takedown defense. Tybura is a weak boxing, so if it's a stand-up fight, I think Delija can get it done. If it goes to the ground, Tybura is a black jiu-jitsu, but he likes making submissions a lot. But I like some ground and pound. So I think if it goes to the ground, Delija might get it done. So the newcomer might actually get it done before the experienced Marcin Tybura. So I'm going with Ante Delija on this one. The next fight is Sai versus Ribeiro. Omar Sai, the French guy, of course, he lost his last fight against Manifield, who is a top 15 in the light heavyweight division. Manifield was a good fight, let me say, because not too competitive. Manifield know how to win a fight. But coming in, I think he's going to make a comeback with this fight. Seeing the holes he made and the mistake he made during the fight with Manifield, maybe he's going to come back better. Ribeiro, because Ribeiro fights aggressive, like he comes forward a lot. His loss came against Muzakanov, who's undefeated. Muzakanov is a very tough fighter, and he's undefeated for a reason. He should be even top 15 or even top 10 in the light heavyweight division. So no bad thing about that. But he was finished on the ground. And Sai is a good wrestler, and he can take you down easily. So I think Sai might actually get it done, because Ribeiro, with coming forward and aggressive, you might come and get hit by something you don't even know. Because Sai is so good at his keeping range, keeping his feet, moving with the cage. Even when he was being pressured out of the cage, he was good at the clinch game. So I think Sai might actually get that, and will be fighting in a home crowd. So maybe both are coming off losses, and I think the Omar Sai will get it done in home soil. The next fight is very interesting. Mauricio Pitbull versus Losent Keita. Pitbull, of course, former Bellator champ, In his UFC debut, he fought Yaya Rodriguez, which he lost that fight. But he made a comeback fighting Danny Ige. Danny Ige is very durable. Nobody has ever knocked out Danny Ige. So it went to decision and Pitbull won the fight. Luis Keita is making his UFC debut. He's the lightweight Octagon champion. Octagon is an MMA promotion in Europe, which is so big there. So he's the lightweight champ there. But he started his career as a welterweight, so big guy coming down, of course, from welterweight coming to lightweight, and now he's fighting at featherweight. He has one loss, and that one loss, it was because of a leg injury, which just like the Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera, how it happened. Leg injury, when you're fighting, of course, when you are disqualified, the other guy gets the win. Anyways, a loss is a loss. But coming on after that, he's on a 5-fight win streak, of course, even capturing the Octagon lightweight champion. He's coming in to fight Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull is so durable, of course. We all know he got a good chin. His ground game is legit. He's a black belt. And this guy Keita, when stand up, this may look like the Yair Rodriguez versus Pitbull fight. Yair Rodriguez was throwing everything at Pitbull, and Pitbull somehow didn't even go down. I think with Pitbull, ground game has an advantage over Keita, but if Keita can actually chop him up well, he can finish this fight. It's very tricky to bet on this fight actually, because both of them are so good and they are so elite. But Keita coming in as the young guy, coming in making as the UFC debut, I really think he might actually get the win over Mauricio Pitbull. Pitbull is a boring fighter, not too exciting, but really knows how to win fights. And this is going to be a high caliber fight, of course. Seeing him coming to the UFC, seeing him getting another notable UFC win, which is going to be a good fight. And I think maybe Keita can get it done against Pitbull. The next fight is going to be interesting. Fernandez versus Harry Hardwick. Harry Hardwick coming in, making his UFC debut. He's a cage warrior, lightweight champion, good stand-up fighter. His ground game and it's not so bad. Coming in, Fernandez won against Guram Chukadze. Guram had the Avengers behind his back in the last fight, of course. All of them are champs. Ilya, Merab, and Hamzat were both on his corner the last fight, and he still lost. So I don't really think Fernandez anything can intimidate him. With all that coming in, akona momentum coming in. So I think he can actually get it done against Harry Hardwick, who is making his UFC debut. Hardwick, the last fight he fought for the belt at the Cage Warriors, it was a really hard fought win, and I think Fernandez, how he fought and having a notable win in the UFC, welcoming this guy, of course, it's going to be a very hard night for Harry Hardwick. So I guess Fernandez is going to get it done. The next fight is Bukauskas Modestas versus Paul Craig. Paul Craig, of course, got a notable wins over the over the current UFC champion. Of course, the only loss Magomed has, it's from Paul Craig, which was a last-minute submission. Everybody was shocked about that. Paul Craig with a good ground submission game. He went down to middleweight. Of course, he got bored getting beaten up over there. Moved back to light heavyweight. He fought Bellator the last fight, but that fight had a lot of controversial. So of course, Paul Craig had to get back in there. No injury sustained in that fight, of course, and he's back against Modestas. Modestas, of course, coming back to the UFC, has been on a tear. He has a good right hand, of course. He got knockout power. He KO'd Rafael on his last fight. He's been in there with one of the best, like Khalil Rountree, which Khalil actually broke his leg. So that's why he's been out for a while. He went back to Cage Warriors, got some notable wins, then actually just came back. Paul Craig, on the other hand, with the over win even over Jamal Hill, he's a bit durable, and he good in the UFC. But I think Modesta's got this with his good momentum coming in, and he's been on a winning streak on a tier, of course, and I think he can get things done on this fight. Paul Craig still signed. I think he signed a new UFC contract on 4 fights. He will redeem himself with the 3 other fights. But for this fight, I'm going to take Modestas Bukauskas for this fight. The next fight is going to be Oki Bolaji and Mason Jones. Mason Jones is tough as nail. Was released from the UFC, came back, of course, fought Jeremy Stevens and won with the upset. Of course, Stevens, after the KO he won at the Bay KFC, people really thought when he coming to finish his UFC contract he's going to win. But of course, Mason Jones won that fight, and that's a big fight. Having a name like Jeremy Stevens at your resume, that's a very, very big thing. And Bolaji Oki, another dog stand-up fighter, pressure fighter, but not good at the ground game. Mason Jones really had him. He really was good against Jeremy Stevens this last fight, and he's been on a winning streak. So I'm going to pick Mason Jones on this fight against Bolaji Oki, simply because Bolaji not a really good wrestler, not really good at the ground game, but he comes forward so bad. So if he wants to make it a stand-up fight, now I'm confident that Mason Jones is going to get it done, because Mason Jones doesn't back down from any fight. He's so good and he's so durable. The next fight is going to be the co-main event, Benoit Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Ruffi. Mauricio Ruffi fighting from the Fighting Nerds, of course, coming back after a big KO win over Bobby Green, now having a high-level opponent over Benoit Saint-Denis on foreign soil. He's going to the enemy territory and seeing what he can do. He's very good at stand-up fights. His ground game, his jiu-jitsu in Brazilian is not so bad. Of course, Benoit Saint-Denis' chin has been tested. He's been knocked out. Tried boxing with Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier slapped him. He wanted to make a quick turnaround. He fought on a UFC card for in UFC Paris against Moicano. His ground game, Moicano took him out of there in the first round. Moicano, of course, was blooded. The canvas was already red with Benoit Saint-Denis blood. So BSD, of course, won his last fight against the short notice privilege, but he was really cautious of that fight. He was technical this time around. He was taking his time. And I think this time, after seeing the KO that Mauricio Ruffi really did, I think he's still going to come in patient with this time. But Benoit Saint-Denis can really get reckless very fast. Of course, Ruffi keeps his stance. This stance is so well. He's tall, and I think he can actually get a finish for this fight. Benoit Saint-Denis has been finished before. He recently started being coached, because he was being coached. He was coaching himself, so now he's got a coach. I hope if he comes with a good game plan, he can take it out maybe in the first round or second round. But if Mauricio Ruffi comes in, and of course Amsome, he'll take Benoit Saint-Denis out of there. So I'm going with Mauricio Ruffi on this one. The next fight is the main event, and I've been thinking about this fight a lot. IMAVOV versus Caio Borralho. Caio Borralho, of course, hasn't fought for over a year. People have been ducking him on the middleweight division, and has been going on. He's been on a lot of the media, a lot of the UFC press conference, of course, putting his face up there. Many people are choosing him as the favorites, but there's been a dark horse on the middleweight division. Middleweight division is so hot right now. IMAVOV is the #1 contender, of course, coming off a win for finishing Israel Adesanya, which for me it was a quick finish, of course, but a finish is a finish. But he has lost to guys like Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, who is so durable, of course, a strong chin, but has been tested with Alex Pereira. But with the loss from Strickland, he came back, won against guys like Barkley, has a win against like Adesanya, as I mentioned before. But IMAVOV has a good stand-up fight. He doesn't like to be on the ground a lot. Kaio not a good wrestler, and he likes standing up a lot too, and has a really good chin. And Kaio hits hard. The last fight he was there win, but the big difference in this fight I think might come because Imavov moves a lot with the cage. He utilizes the cage a lot, and I think he might, if this fight will go the full 5 rounds fight, but I really don't know who is going to win this fight between both of them. Because Kaio, of course, he went 5 rounds in Jai Colonia, and he was so durable, taking hard shots, good chin, and still didn't see like he was in trouble. But he's not really a good finisher, but he might actually finish this fight. I've never really seen Imavov in big trouble before. Maybe the losses which is a split decision, but big fight both of them. Either man can win that fight, of course, and it's a big fight in the middleweight division. Either man who can win might actually get the next title shot next. It actually comes if you win in spectacular fashion, might actually get the next title shot next year. Anyway, that's the UFC Paris card. Usiboeke weekend manze, good card itakuwa nice. Thank you for watching. Peace.